to the fourth episode of Joy Made Millionaire, a podcast and live stream that is all about helping you to find that intersection between mindset and money, between happiness and deeper pockets, between creativity and commerce. We're talking about it all. And I am so happy to be able to welcome people to the stream. We have got folks showing up every week. We've had dozens and dozens of folks come into the show. And I am so happy that we get to do this together. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about your past. We're going to talk a little bit about when you have kind of gotten into this part of your life, when you have gotten into this situation where happiness isn't the lowest on the totem pole, but it certainly is not number one. It certainly is not number two. It is certainly not something that you prioritize on a regular basis. And so as a result, hey, I see my mom is watching. Hey, mom. As a result, we do not always think about what are some of the things that we used to do that really contributed to us feeling happier, feeling healthier, feeling more well adjusted. Because that's the thing. And I've noticed this more and more as I've been working with six-figure entrepreneurs. I've noticed this as I have tried to be in rooms where there are more seven-figure, eight-figure entrepreneurs. It's that they are relentless at working on their selves. They are relentless at working on their joy and their happiness. But it doesn't always come from being a futurist. It doesn't always come from looking ahead. And by the way, if you're watching here live, let me know in the comments because I'm here. I'm watching. I'm ready. I see Charity May and Rusty and Lucy and Kyle and Gina and Rachel. And I see some other folks popping in as well. But I want you to think about things from not just, oh, I will be happy when I make this amount of money. I will be happy when I get to this level of book sales. I will be happy when this problem goes away, this problem changes, this thing sorts itself out. I will be happy when. We're always looking forward. Hey, Christy, good to see you. Hey, Barbara, glad you're here. We're always looking ahead, right? How many of you, raise your hands here in the live, have said, I will be happy when XYZ? Because I know I have. I absolutely have. And here's the thing. You are the one who is choosing to hide from the happiness. You are the one who is choosing to not be open to the idea of happiness right now. Christy says, I am happy now, but I will be happier then. And hey, Rusty, good to see you. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. You do not have to reserve your happiness only for the future. You can be happy now. You can have joy now. And here's the thing. When you have joy, when you have happiness now, when you focus on being happy, to quote Marcy Shimoff, happy for no reason, when you choose to be happy in the moment and you do have a choice, then those problems that you think, oh, I'm only going to be happy when they go away, they won't feel as bad. And so, and hey, Deborah, Christy, and hey, Charity May. So here's what I want us to think about today. Ooh, we jumped up to 27 people watching. Hey, peoples. Here's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about the past. I want you to think about things that used to make you happy that you let go of. I want you to think about, past me wasn't so bad. We're tough on past us, right? We're tough on past us. We say, past us made all these dumb decisions. Past version of us was had a lot of problems. If I knew past me, I wouldn't be friends with them. That sort of thing. But it does not have to be that way. You can think about some of the great things that the past version of you did. And so I actually have written a couple of books of prompts. Oh, hey, Aunt Joanne. Look, I've got my mom watching. I've got Aunt Joanne here. Good to see you guys. So it's a family affair here. I want to ask you guys a couple of questions from a couple of books that I wrote last year. These were journals that I wrote called The Best Version of Your Life and The Best Version of Your Heart. Now, Best Version of Your Life, I think that more people know about this one because it came out first. So I am going to be looking through a couple of questions here that I want to ask you guys. I want you to think about. So, first question, I want you to think about this. I want you to write down the first thing that comes to you. If you're listening to this in the car, I want you to just talk it out. I want you to write it down when you have a chance. So, in my book, Best Version of Your Heart, I have a section called Scheduling Joy, making actual time where happiness is a priority. And so first, let's think back to the past. Think back to the past. What is a period in your life where you would say you made the most space for fun activities and things that made you happy? So what is a period in your life where you actually made this dedicated time and space, the most time? And for a lot of this is going to be when we were younger. This is going to be high school. This is going to be college. Maybe it's in our 20s where you made the most space. I want you to think about that. So everybody, feel free, if you're watching live, feel free to type this into the comment box. What is that period of your life where you made the most space for this? For me, I worked so hard in college. I would say it was probably more like my 20s where I was scheduling activities. I played on teams. I took classes that I found fun. I mean, I'm a former improv comedian. I was doing improv comedy multiple nights a week. And so that is a time period where I was doing that. And I want you to kind of feel into that. I want you to feel into it and say, it was kind of nice putting all that extra priority time. It was kind of nice making that extra space for the fun. And the version of yourself in the past is not any more deserving than you are now. You deserved the fun and the happiness and the creative, infusion of energy. You deserved that back then, and you still deserve it right now. So I'm going to look at some of what you guys answered. Mike says, when I was a medic for the YMCA. Scarlett, to when I retired early and lived abroad. And Lucia is here watching. Awesome. So think about that. Let me look. Kathleen says in her 30s. And no one has said anything on Instagram, but I'm trying. I'm checking. So think about that. Lean into that a little bit. When you made that space for time, you were prioritizing yourself. You were prioritizing your energy. You were prioritizing your joy. And I think that you are allowed to do the same thing now. You might not feel that way right away, but you are allowed to do the same thing right now. You are absolutely allowed to make that space, to schedule that time for joy. So let me look into this. Let's talk about what you did with that time. Of that scheduled joy, what activity sticks out as something that you would say significantly contributed to your happiness? So, of the joy that you were scheduling for yourself, for some of you, it was in when you worked at a certain job. For some of you, it was during a certain decade. For some of you, it was after a certain life event. Of that scheduled joy, which thing contributed the most? Which thing contributed the most? And I would say for me, it's probably kind of a tie between the comedy stuff that I was doing and the sports stuff that I was doing. And there isn't as much of that in my life right now. But I could, right? I could make more time for comedy. I could make more time for some kind of sports thing, even as I gracefully age into my 40s. I can make that space, and you don't have to be 30. You don't have to be in that time of your life where you were making that space to bring that activity back, to bring a parallel activity back. And so, we've got family time. Sylvia went dancing, um, picnics, beach visits, hiking, says Barbara. Um, Gina did some volunteering with horses. I mean, look, all of these things are available. It's possible that we don't have any as much space as we used to. It's possible that, certain people that we were with at that time, we can't do it with them for whatever reason, but you can do some of these things yourself. You have the ability to do some of these things yourself. And here's what happens when you actually make space for this, when you actually make space to bring that joy back into your life. How about we feel into it a little bit? Feel into the thing that was so fun. Feel into how much it brought us and how much light it brought to our lives. When we do that, when we're in this part of our lives that also has a career, also has a side hustle, also has a business that we're trying to grow, here's the crazy thing that happens. When you make more time for that joyful thing, the business grows. When you make time for the joyful thing, the business grows. I had a coaching client several years back. I asked her, what did she used to do for fun? And she brought those activities into her life again, and her income went up 10 times. No joke. Her income increased by 10x. And I've seen it across the board. When I make more space for joy, when I make more space for those activities, I find it as well. My business absolutely grows. Lucy has the PIO classes, quilting classes. Look, those are allowed to come back, or if those can't come back exactly as they are, this is another question from the book. What are some similar activities to the one you used to do, to that thing that significantly increased your joy? And remember, if we increase our joy, we increase our income. If we increase our joy, we increase our income. What are some similar activities to the one you used to do that you could bring back? Maybe I'm not going to be in a comedy troupe again, but maybe I can go see a comedy show once a month. Maybe I'm not going to run around every weekend and play soccer, but maybe I'm going to go play a pickup game every so often, because they do exist in my area. So what is a parallel activity, maybe 5, 10, 20, 30 plus years later, that you could bring into your life? Because I will say it the third time, because repetition makes such a difference. Increasing your joy is going to increase your income. So what is a parallel activity that you could bring into your life here right now? I'm recording this in January 2026. What is something you could bring in January 2026, February 2026? It exists. Your joy is within reach, which means you can be happier and have a higher income. What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing. Let's see. The living in Spain. But an old Earl Nightingale quote, if you have problems already and you just move to another place, you're kind of just packing them up in the bag with you, right? So we need to figure out what is the joyful activity. It's not just about the place, the joyful activity. So I really want you guys to feel into this. Joanne says, it is easier though when you are younger. Absolutely. But just because something is hard, does not mean it's not worth it. Just because something is hard. I remember I had this great interaction with a guy, David, who I went to high school with, and he was working a summer job. I was there for the summer in college, and he said, there's a lot of things I want to do, but they're all really hard. And I told him, I don't know where I pulled this out of, but I told him, well, you got to work hard at some point, right? You got to work hard at some point. And I connected with him a few years later, and he said, Brian, you told me you got to work hard at some point, and then you were right. So I really buckled down, and then I went to law school and became a lawyer. And I don't know, he probably would have done it anyway, but hard things are hard, but they're worth doing a lot of the time. They're worth doing a lot of the time. And Kathleen, I get it. And your writing is your joy. So absolutely. Do more of it. Make more space for it. Absolutely. Yeah, Gina, I think if you spent the time with the horses and the spending more time with the horse brings you joy, absolutely do it. Maybe even spend more time with the horse so that you can feel more free and feel more joyful. Awesome. I wanted to go into another one as I'm getting distracted by a dog barking, but I don't think you guys are hearing it. So, more questions from the book. This is from the section True Happiness. I hope you guys are starting to get the sense here of what I'm going for. So, what is a period of your life where you made sure that you reserved space for your own wants and needs, not just the needs of others, your own wants and needs? What is the time where you it might be the same time period as before, a time where you actually reserve space, not just for other people, but for yourself? Because look, I'm a dad, I'm a husband. I was just talking to an amazing coach, Genevieve Rackham, the other day, and saying just you got to hold space for yourself. You can't just hold space for other people. And it's absolutely the truth. I hold a lot of space for my daughter, for my wife, for the people I work with at Best Page Forward. I'm the guy in charge, so I hold space for them to make sure they're getting everything they need. But there was a time in my life where I held more space for myself. And I don't think selfish is really the word here. I think it is and self-centered. These are terms created by people who want you to do a lot of work for them and don't want you to be happy. They don't care about your happiness. It's immaterial to them. But focusing on self and being mindful of your own wants and needs is really, really important. So I want you to think about that. And I want you to take this one additional question here. If you had a day that was completely and utterly focused on your own happiness, what would you make sure was a part of it? If you just could make sure you had one day and you're not going to do anything you don't want to do, you're going to only do things that make you happy, what is something that you would make sure was a part of it? What is something that you would make sure was a part of it? Because if you already know the perfect thing that brings you more joy in your life, the perfect thing that helps you to feel happier, and you don't do it, you're doing yourself a disservice, because possibly you've been spending so much time focused on the needs and wants of others. But you are allowed. You have my permission. I am right now, right here, giving you permission to bring that happier thing into your life. Sylvia here says, being out in the forest brings me joy. So your perfect day, your happiest day would involve a hike. Absolutely. A hike in the future. Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Anita, to my earlier question, there was never a time, she says, never a time where she put her wants and needs ahead of others. It is time to bring it in. It is time. And Christy's taking other people's ideas, which I think sounds amazing. It is okay now, this many years into your life, to say, I deserve a day for me. I deserve a month for me. Honestly, you deserve a whole year and change for you. Always putting other people's wants and needs ahead. It is okay to focus on you. And if you have struggled to see growth in your business, if you have struggled to see improvements in your income, and you also happen to have never put your own needs ahead of others, there could be a correlation there. I'm sorry to say, but there could be a correlation there. I worked with a coaching student years ago who just had no boundaries. People were always walking into her space. People were always asking her for things, and she always said yes, which, look, I understand there is some joy in helping others. Absolutely. But if you never make room for yourself and then you feel that ache, you feel that I never grew, aching, that longing, it may have been in part because you said yes too much, because you always put those folks ahead of yourself. And it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow, right? I love helping people. I absolutely love helping people. But sometimes the best help you can give others is help for yourself. It is help for yourself. Lucy found that there are quilting classes, there are yoga classes in her area that might be part of your perfect day. And so, Lucy, certainly you have my permission. You have my permission to bring that back in. You have my permission to do a yoga class for you. And guess what? Here's the thing that really gets me about this one. Here's the thing that it's going to surprise you. It surprised me. It's going to surprise you too. When you tell the people in your life that you're always making room for, always making space for, always prioritizing over you, when you tell them, hey, I need to do this thing for me, some of the time they are going to say, I've been waiting for you to ask that, of course. I've been waiting for you to take this space for yourself. I've been waiting for you to try to get as much done for you as you do for me. Sometimes you are actually going to be surprised. And this is what, I'm so joyful that in bringing together the people that help to make my company, Best Page Forward, as successful as it is, to be 2 years in a row with 7 figures in income, members of my team want me to work less. Members of my team want me to be more joyful. They want me to have more space, to have more time for myself. They are actively saying, "Don't do that. I'll do that." And when you make those kind of connections, when you realize that the people you that you are doing stuff for actually want you to do more for yourself, it opens things up. It opens things up, and we can be more available just to that kind of help. We can be more available to people wanting us to be successful. Kathleen says a problem-free day. It'll come someday. Let's meditate on that, Kathleen. A day is coming to me that is full of joy and empty of problems. A day is coming to me. Because I think it's a difference in how you're speaking it, right? It'll come someday. We gotta get out of that a little bit. I know it's hard, but we gotta say, no, more days are coming with 0 problems. More days are coming with 0 fires to put out. More days are coming where I have more space for joy. And you are allowed to be intentional about that. And you are allowed to say that is coming your way. And you are allowed to embrace the energy that good, wonderful, amazing things are coming your way. Because as I've been learning from some of the amazing people that I've been working with, as I've been learning from more and more high-level people and surrounding myself with more high-level people, it is about setting the intention first. It is about setting the intention of what you want and then feeling into how it would feel. This is Manifestation 101. This is by Amanda Francis's book, Rich as F. This is that sort of thing. If you know what it is you want, and you know how that would feel, what kind of joy that would bring into your life, and then you feel that feeling, she recommends for at least 120 consecutive seconds. You set the timer. If you do that, it is going to be a lot easier for that good thing to come to you. And so I want everybody as homework. Everybody as your homework, your Joy Made Millionaire homework. I want you to pick one thing you could do one time. One thing you could do one time in the next 30 days that could bring you more joy. I want you to write that down. I think it feels good to say it. One thing that could bring you joy one time. And if that works out, obviously you can do it over and over and over again. I think that you guys catch my drift. If you enjoyed thinking about things that you could bring into your day and your life that would make you happier, let me know. I will take the validation. Those of you who are new to the show, I want you to remember you can pick up my 10 ways to add more joy to your business at joymademillionaire.com. If you enjoyed the show, please feel free to post a review on Apple Podcasts or share this video. If you're seeing this on YouTube, if you're seeing this on Facebook, you can share it. Instagram, I think it's a little more challenging, but I love, love, love that I get to do this show for you. I hope that you are starting to really understand and see that connection between how you want to make more money, but it isn't always money-related actions that will get you there. It is having those happy touch points throughout your day, throughout your week, those things that you let slide by, bring them back. Bring back the joy. You are allowed to have the joy. You deserve to have the joy. You do not just have to do things for other people. You can do things for yourself because you are freaking awesome. And awesome people like you deserve to have good, happy things in their lives. I love you guys. I thank you for being here live or listening on the replay. I hope you have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. And I will see you really, really, really soon. Thanks, Lucy and Gina. Yeah, you can always find the podcast like where Sell More Book Show was over at Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube. Thank you, Charity May. Thank you, everybody. Take really, really good care, you guys. And we will talk soon for the next episode of Joy Made Millionaire. Bye, everyone.